My name is Nicole Moore with So Much More. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to make a face mask using the pattern available on my website. While you're watching, if you see something that you like, give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. This pattern has 4 different sizes. Each size has a separate PDF with unique assembly measurements on each pattern piece. I've linked the pattern in the description of this video. For this video tutorial, we'll be making the large size, which fits my own face. Each pattern piece includes the 1/4 inch seam allowance. Before we cut the pattern, it's a good idea to measure the page for accurate printing. To ensure that you have printed the pattern correctly, be sure to set your printer to print actual size. Then take your ruler and compare the 1-inch mark on your pattern page. Cut out your pattern along the outer dashed line. I'm using my paper scissors and not my fabric scissors for this step. Next, we'll take a scrap of pre-washed fabric. I'm folding mine right sides together and pinning the pattern on top. Using your fabric scissors, cut your fabric along the pattern template. Take a couple sewing pins and secure the convex curve of the fabric pieces. And then take this to your sewing machine and sew these pieces together using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Using your fingers, or a sewing ham if you have one, press the entire length of the seam open. Using a hot iron, press the beginning and the end of each seam. I'm using a wool mat, which is especially helpful at setting seams. I've made the lining piece in the same manner as the exterior, and those seams will also need to be pressed. Take your lining piece and lay it right side up. Reference your pattern to identify the placement marks for your elastic. Now mark your lining piece on each side. Each PDF pattern includes unique measurements for the cut length of the elastic. And if you don't have elastic, that's okay. I also have included cut length for binding or ribbon ties. Once you have this cut, we'll sew these down. Be sure to place your elastic or binding strips on the inside of each marking. Now we'll join the lining to the exterior of the face mask. With right sides together, align the top seam, and then using pins, align all of the sides and pin together. And be sure to leave a small opening at the bottom for turning. 3 inches should be enough room for that. Once you have everything pinned in place, you'll sew around the perimeter of the face mask using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And don't forget to leave that opening for turning. Before we turn the mask right side out, we need to clip the corners. It's also a good idea to provide some ease around that large curve as well. You can snip the seam allowance without cutting the seam thread all along that curved side. Now turn the mask right side out. You may need to use a tool to poke out the corners. The tool I'm using is called the Purple Fang. Using your hot iron, press the edges flat and prepare the opening to be sewn shut. To close the opening, top stitch around the entire perimeter of the face mask using a 1/8 inch seam allowance. Give your finished mask a nice pressing, and you're all done. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video tutorial, be sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you sign up for notifications, you'll be the first to know about my next video. And if you want more DIY, go to the link in the description and sign up for my weekly newsletter. Each week I send you inspiration directly to your inbox. For more tutorials, head over to my website and Facebook group, where there's always so much more in store.